Hey, Rideshare Dan here, and I wanted to make a video about child safety seats and booster seats. And I want this to be for both riders and drivers, because this is a very important subject. Today I had a pickup. I was driving down the street, and as I approached the passengers, it was obvious that at least one of the passengers was a child who would likely need a booster seat or some other sort of child restraint system. So I asked the passengers first if they had the appropriate child safety seats for their child. And they said no, they did not. And when I said, well, I'm very sorry, I would not be able to give you this ride because Uber policy and the law requires that all children in my vehicle be properly restrained. And the answer that I got was the typical answer that I get whenever I deal with this problem. The first comment is typically, we are just going up the street, as if an accident can't take place between block A and block Z. Or, the other driver let us do it. Well, if the other driver drove off the bridge, I wouldn't follow that other driver either. Just because another driver acted irresponsibly, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be magically convinced to drive irresponsibly. So, my tip to riders is this. If you're going to be traveling with children to some place where you're going to require other people to drive you around, check the laws of where you're going. Make sure that either A, you don't need any sort of child restraint or booster seat, or make sure to bring one with you. It's as simple as that. Yeah, it might be a pain to bring a child seat on a plane. You know what? I did it once. It was fine. We dealt with it. Because I knew that when we got to the location where we were going, my child would have to be put in that seat in a car because he was too small to safely ride in a vehicle with just a regular seatbelt. And it would be a violation of the law for me to try and do so. So, riders, please, do not ask your drivers to make an exception for you. We, as drivers, especially good drivers, want to give good, safe rides to our customers. And we cannot give a safe ride if your child is not properly restrained. And drivers, my tip for you, don't make excuses. Don't make exceptions. Don't just say, oh, well, if we're just going up the street, then I guess it's okay. You need to say no to every single passenger who tells you that they don't have the appropriate restraint system. Now, I could show you another video of what took place during Mardi Gras this past year when I arrived at a location and this woman was very unhappy with me that I was going to not give her a ride because she didn't have the appropriate child safety seats. And she went off. She completely flipped her lid. She completely started making threats about she was going to call the police and make false accusations about why I was there. She was very angry. But I stood firm and I said no, and I started recording her because I wanted to make sure that if she did call the police on me, that I would have evidence of her acting irrationally and claiming that she was going to make false claims about me. But the bottom line is this. No matter what a passenger says or does, you need to follow the laws pertaining to child restraints and booster seats. And it's not only a protection for you, which it is, but it is also more beneficial to the rest of us drivers out there trying to make a buck. If you make an exception, then they're going to expect that we're also going to make an exception for them. They're going to complain and they're going to be mad, when in reality, they are the ones who are at fault because they are the ones who didn't bring the appropriate child safety seats for their children. And personally, I don't understand why you would not bring the required safety restraints for your children. They're your children. Protect them. Make sure that they're as safe as possible. So, this is going to be my answer. It was my answer from the first time that I noticed that I had a person trying to get into my car with a child that was underage for regular seatbelts, and it'll be my answer till my very last Uber ride. And that is, you cannot get in my car if you do not have the appropriate child safety seats for your children. That is required by law and required by the policy of the ride-sharing company that you're using. Period. End of story.